Hi, everyone. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us with this first Zoom call, Coach's Corner. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sharif Saber, and I am the head women's soccer coach at the University of Mount Olive. And as you can hopefully see by this wonderful Zoom call, I'm joined by a lot of our friends, family, players, alumni. So before I start and before we open up for questions or anything, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to the girls, the parents, the alumni, friends, Mr. Eisen. Thank you. I'd also like to send a big thank you to Ryan Smith and Dwayne McKay for setting this up, and also to Richard Laudenschlager, Mark Bowman, and Jason Carlson, the other soccer coaches at Mount Olive, because right now they're out in the field plugging, and I am in here in this nice air-conditioned living room doing this Zoom call. So thank you to the other coaches out on the hot field right now. A little bit about me before we begin. Before I got to UMO, I was a high school coach at Kutztown High School, where actually, ironically, I coached with Rick, who is my assistant coach now. We were there for 4 years. I was a club coach at the ECNL level and MPL level at Penn Fusion. From there, I was the head coach at Penn State Brandywine, which was in the USCAA, where we were fortunate to start the program from scratch. We had 2 very successful seasons, back-to-back regular season championships, and then 1 postseason championship where we made the national tournament for the first time in school history. After that, I was named as an assistant coach at the University of Kutztown School. University of Mount Olive, where I'm going into my 3rd season. For those of you that don't know much about our program, my first year we were 5-9, and we showed a lot of promise and growth. Last year, the girls on this call exploded. They went 14-1-3, going undefeated in the regular season and the conference playoffs, winning their first outright conference regular season championship and postseason championship, making the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history, having only our 2nd All-American in school history in women's soccer, 4 NCAA Southeast region players, 8 all-conference players. We were ranked number 6th in the Southeast region, which is the highest ranking our program's ever had, and also the conference tournament MVP. So for me, last year was tremendous growth. I couldn't have been more excited for what the girls did, and a large part of that was who we are. A big chunk of who we are as a family. You know, a lot of coaches get way too much credit. I was fortunate to get Coach of the Year. It's not me. It's not Rick. It's my girls. It's the girls. They put the blood, sweat, and tears into this program, and they're reaping the rewards. And I couldn't be more fortunate to be their coach. That's enough about me. I don't like to talk that much, believe it or not, about myself. So in the comments below or in the comment section, anybody has any questions about what we do, who we are, give bunny ears to their daughters in the background. I see that too. Anything like that, be more than happy to answer about who we are and where we're going here at UMO. So comment away, question away. Oh, here we go. First one from Jalen Brown. What are some major goals or steps that need to be taken for the season to put us in a position to repeat and be champs again? Jay, I'm not going to read your entire question. It's a paragraph, so thank you for that. I'm going to take it step by step here. What do we need to do to repeat? We have to have the humility to understand what it took to become champions. It took us having the humility to work hard during the offseason, to grind out every match, to not have any egos, for everybody to put the team above themselves. If you do that again with the talent we have and the work ethic we have, I firmly believe we will continue to have the success we did. Jay, you threw a lot in here on me, so I'm going to keep going here. Overall, being a part of the old team versus the team we have now, there's been 100%, 180% change. What would you say are the main changes we made in order to have the year we had previously and the team we're continuing to grow now? The biggest change I've seen from when I got here till now is, and again, I don't mean to sound like a broken recorder, is my players. It's one thing in any organization or any group to have 10 or 15 people pull in one direction. It's another thing to have all 30 pull in the same direction. And I'm very fortunate where each and every one of the girls, the staff, the support staff, the administration, the university, we're all pulling in the same direction. And as a head coach, when I have that ability, it makes it so much easier to then just build a successful culture. So all those ingredients, but especially that idea of we're going together. Thank you, Jay. Obviously, we've done some incredible things at UMO. What's the favorite thing about the group of girls you have and continue to bring in? The favorite thing is the fact that you all keep me in line. And I know if you're not part of our group me or part of our training sessions or practices or bus trips, you don't fully know what that means. But my girls have a very good way of keeping the coaches and the coaching staff on their toes, making sure that not only are we striving to be better in every area, that I also never get full of myself at any moment either. So ladies, thank you for that. Kendra, if the school gave you a chance to add one major project, what would it be excluding the locker room? Wow, that's a very good question. One major project. So one of the projects we're currently working on, for those of you that don't know, is the university is building us a brand new locker room facility for men's soccer, women's soccer, men's tennis, and women's tennis. We're actually going to be starting a massive fundraising campaign to continue adding lockers and things like that into the inside. So please stay tuned and hopefully we'll get you more information on that. But as far as one thing I would like, it's continuing doing what we're doing. And I know that sounds lame, but for instance, like I said in my intro, today the soccer coaches are out laying down new turf and sod for the field, which has been part of a 3-year plan from adding new irrigation, laser leveling, to now new sod. Every time we've asked the university for major projects, Mr. Eisen has always found a way to get the university to rally around us and support us. So from that perspective, we just keep trucking along and staying on the path we are. Amanda, what changes do you see for the season given COVID restrictions? It's a great question. Right now, we're actually working on that as a university, and the NCAA is working on that as a whole. But for me, the biggest thing is whatever we do, the player safety, the staff safety, everybody's health and safety, the fans, the parents, that's always going to take priority. And thankfully, in everything I've seen from my university, everything I've seen from the conference, that's exactly what we're doing. So we don't fully know, because this is an evolving situation, what it'll look like. The good news is I feel very confident that everybody in charge is going to continue moving in a positive direction to make sure everybody's safe. I know that was kind of a cop-out answer, and you all just wanted to hear something very specific. I'm sorry, Amanda, but that's just the truth. It's a great question, though. What would you say last year's team's biggest strength was? Their lack of ability to understand that they were who we were. And here's what I mean. From the moment last year started, literally the moment it started, that team had a confidence about it and a togetherness that I've very, very rarely seen in soccer. They knew they were going to win. The rest of the world didn't know. And like I told them after the season, I wasn't as confident as they were at times. But they had an internal resolve and a collective group resolve that they never felt as though they were going to do anything but win. And what's happened now is that confidence has grown into part of our culture, where now they expect to do it and the girls coming in expect to do it, which I'm very fortunate for. So last year's group to me was a massive shift in who we are and who we're becoming. So thank you. Is Tony still, oh, I'm sorry, what needs, sorry, I didn't want to skip you, Jazz. What needs to consider specific to your team, personally, individually, and team-wise? So I'm assuming, Jazz, what you meant by that was, what do I consider specific to us? And what I find and consider specific to us is, it's going to sound weird, it's us, is the unique personality of each and every one of you and the staff. Like, we're probably the least forgettable team you're ever going to be around, both on and off the field. For 90 minutes, not only are the girls going to give you absolutely everything they have, but off the field, in the classroom, they're just as driven, and they're just as, I mean, I don't mean crazy, but very, very unique. We'll use that word. So Jazz, that's your best quality as a group and us as a collective. Is Tony still singing the national anthem? Yes, Matt. Yes. Your daughter is still singing the national anthem for us at least once. For those of you that don't know, Tony Brem has a beautiful voice that we all discovered on one of our bus rides, and we are not going to let Tony get out of that. So yes, Tony, you are definitely singing. Cami, with the new incoming players along with returning players, do you foresee any major shifts in our overall playing style or system of play? It's a great question, Cami. And just like we always talk about as a group, it's going to depend on the group. So specific matchups, who's injured, who's not, strengths and weaknesses of the upcoming opponent. Basically, what I foresee happening is everything we did last year, just ratcheted up another level. So will we have some games where we're ultra possession-based? Yes, we will. We have some games where we're high pressure and very direct. Yes, we will. Some games where we just throw out a crazy formation and hope it sticks because we're just going to go out and attack all the time. Yes, we will. The good thing from my perspective is not only do I see growth from the returners, I see excitement and growth already from our incoming players. I see a culture where everybody just is constantly churning to get better. So that's for me exciting, Cam. Callie, what is something you're looking forward to most about the upcoming season? Just coaching, just getting outside and hopefully having some semblance of normalcy again. I mean, besides the fact that we have all these new players coming in, and I'm really excited about the returners, it would just be nice to have a semblance of normalcy and get back out in the field and coach. Keep rolling here. How has COVID, that's a great question. How has COVID impacted recruiting? So for those of you that don't know, we in women's soccer tend to recruit 18 to 24 months out. And the way we recruit is basically if you come in and you look in my office, you'll see the current roster, projected needs for the following year, and then that third year out. So 2 years out from our current season. What's essentially happened is we are finishing our 2021 class, but we've stopped recruiting 2022s. Normally we'd be, today's June 24th, we'd be about 9 days into the 2022 cycle, because June 15th at the end of their sophomore year, we can begin contacting players. We are slowing down. One, because we've missed a lot of major recruiting events due to COVID. And two, the reality is with everything going on, until we get through the fall and until my seniors graduate, we have to make sure what the roster looks like. So for us, our 2021 class is about one player away. We're looking for another striker. So if you're a 2021 striker listening to this, contact me. But other than that, we're just slowing down a little bit just to ensure that everybody who's currently on the roster will be taken care of. Will spectators be allowed at games mainly so I can yell at Tony? I don't have the answer to that yet. We are still waiting for our executive council to give us more direction. And honestly, with the rest of you, and as we've seen, COVID continues to evolve. So until we have those directions from the higher ups, the answer is just open right now. The good news is, thankfully, we do live stream all of our home games, and the conference live streams on the Conference Carolina's digital network. So even if we can't, you can at least tune in, which I know is not the same, especially for us, where we had almost 600 people at our conference final last year. But it's at least something for us where we're fortunate to have. Courtney, hello. 2 questions. What would you share your coaching philosophy? So a lot of coaches have really weird, just random slogans like that mean nothing, like winners don't drink lemonade or something weird like that. They're just empty, meaningless things. Our philosophy is much simpler. First, we take care of the person. If I don't take care of and Rick doesn't take care of your daughters as people, we have failed. Once we take care of their physical well-being, their mental well-being, then and only then do we focus on them as students. Once we take care of them academically and as human beings, then we focus on them as athletes. And through that process, we found not only do we have more successful students and people, we also have more successful athletes because we've built a relationship and a trust along the way. So now, instead of us having a relationship where everything I say is coach is saying this, majority of the time we're spending with the girls is as human beings. So it's not, oh, Sharif said this and coach said this. We're able to differentiate. So Courtney, thank you for that question. I enjoy having that discussion. Last season, there were some close games. What do you think the difference was between winning and losing for some of those games? It's a great question. One was my girls' resiliency. So in our last 9 matches, if you go back, in 7 of them, I believe, we were losing or tied at halftime. And we won all but 1. And a lot of that had to do with, 1, I have an extremely intelligent group of young women. They are able to tactically adjust on the fly. Sometimes if you watch the conference final, we adjusted 3 different formations just alone in the second half. 2, they're exceptionally competitive. To the point where we joke all the time about, even when we do recovery day things like soccer, tennis, we literally have broken sticks because we have some anger issues on the team over whether or not the ball was in bounds. And then 3rd, they allow me to do the greatest thing a coach can do, which is just coach. By allowing me to coach, which seems obvious, they open up the ability for me to be honest with them, to give them positive feedback, to just move them forward as players. So those to me are the 3 biggest ones. Amanda, with 2 new schools entering our conference soon, Pembroke and Francis Marion, how do you think it will improve or impact the level of competition in the conference? Amanda, great question. I think adding UNCP and FMU are going to tremendously benefit our conference. Not only for us on the east side, so for those of you that don't know the geography of North Carolina, other than Barton and Chowan, us at Mount Olive, our away games tended to be a lot further than most because of we're easternly located. By adding 2 eastern schools, it helps add 2 schools that, frankly, we play non-conference anyway. But from a conference perspective, you have 2 universities that have excellent athletic programs and academics, so it's just only going to improve the overall level of our conference. Riley, is there going to be more days where we can watch film and study our opponent? Yes, Rye. That'll all be built into the schedule. It's going to also depend on more individual group stuff, because last year we had so many new players, we were more worried about the group than the individual at times. So this year, as we continue moving forward, it'll be a little bit more of a combination. Great question. How will the adjusted breaks affect training and the season schedule? So for those of you that are unaware, we've eliminated our fall break. And once the players and the students go for Thanksgiving, they'll stay off site, they'll stay at home to finish out the last few weeks of school. The question, that's a great question. It's one we haven't identified the answer to yet, because that's going to basically depend on the NCAA tournament. For us, that would be the 2nd round, I believe, of the NCAA tournament. So until we get to that point or get closer to that point, we don't really know what the impact of everything would look like. So that's still an evolving question, but it's a great one and one we're already thinking about. What is the most rewarding aspect of coaching at the Division II level? It's the balance. Coaching at other levels, to me, I feel like we lose some balance either way. And I won't get into too much specifics, but at D2, the balance of having athletic scholarships, having committed and longer preseasons, having more off-season training, higher levels of competition, along with the fact that on the flip side, we are committed to, especially in our conference, a life in balance that allows us to have a more holistic approach to your daughters. As I said earlier, just within our own program, it's not just who they are as soccer players. Who you are as a soccer player is only a very, very small part of what we're looking for in this program. So being at D2 allows me to merge my personal philosophy and the philosophy of the program with the overall arching philosophy of our conference and of our division. Do you by chance know when a women's soccer team store will be open? That'll be coming in the next couple days. Thank you, Justice, for that. In the next few days, everybody keep an eye on our social media page. We're working out the final details with Adidas. So if you like to buy some UMO women's soccer gear, check it out. Justice, you should work for marketing for me. Thank you. Since your arrival at UMO, how has the presence and the reputation of the women's soccer team shifted and evolved? Great question. So let's have a very frank conversation. Before I got here, not many people knew us. Many people still don't know us. And that's fine. We're evolving and we're growing. But as we continue to have the success we have, to answer your question, Cami, this program in our university is gaining a regional brand and a more of a national brand. I'll give you a wonderful little story. When Rick and I went in December to Disney to recruit, we had a coach who used to coach in the conference who's now a Division I coach in Northeast New York. Never met the gentleman before in my life. Had no idea who he was. He came up to us and congratulated us on the season we were having and said that Mount Olive over exceeding expectations and doing things that we've traditionally never done has allowed us to now gain a little bit of a following. The other part of it is we've started expanding our recruiting base a little bit. We have more girls from the Northeast, international, mixed in with our North Carolina girls, the Southeast. It also allows us to have a little bit more of a national East Coast international brand as well. I hope that answered your question, Cami. Callie, do you think not having a full spring season could affect the team going into the regular season? Yes, I do. Here's why. Because one of the things that we like to prioritize during the spring season is individual growth. And it's also a chance for our rising juniors, rising seniors, rising sophomores to take on new and evolving leadership roles. We kind of missed out on some of that. But thankfully, on the flip side, from Zoom calls, from the workout packets we've put together, and just from my own players' sheer determination, while I'm concerned about it, I'm not panicked. Because I know the internal resolve of this group and the resolve of the team is to win and continue to win on and off the field. So for me, the girls are going to continue doing whatever it takes and prioritizing what's important. And as a coach, that's awesome. Besides the championship, what was your fondest memory of last year? That's like asking me what's my favorite kid, Ryan. I have so many positive memories from last year. From the team karaoke on the bus to even the weird adventures at some of the restaurants we've had to just the whole season. For me, though, if I'm being honest, a soccer moment, they happened within a couple days of each other, was tying Belmont Abbey when we were down 2-0 with 16 minutes left, and then tying them with less than 40 seconds in the fashion we did. Not only was that a fond memory because of how exciting the game was for us, but it was the first time the girls saw the impact they're having around the university when we had so many people come out to our game. When the girls looked across the field, when I first got here, my very first game in charge, there was five fans in the stand. Fast forward, and one of our team goals from the originals, who right now are Kendra and Jay, who were originally part of that original group, was to get more people involved and out to our games. And a big part of that was the girls being more active on campus, going to other sports, supporting them through their personality and hard work and success, and then the university rallying around us. Just watching and hearing the sideline and the excitement, and then do it again in the conference championship where we won it, and then we had some of our own coaches jump the fence and run onto the field. Those are memories that last long, long after the championships gain dust and the banners are put away in storage. What is your advice to others who are considering coaching as a career? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't coach as a career. Don't do it. It's exceptionally rewarding and not the answer that you probably expected me to have. No, I'm joking. The advice I would give them is have the humility along the way. and understand that there's never been a great coach or a great program without great players and great people. If you fail on those fronts, if you fail on the fact that you recruit the wrong people and the wrong players, I don't care how much you think you know. I don't care how hard you work. You're not going to have the success you need, because ultimately this is a player sport and all sports are player revolved. And those are the ones, they are the people who will ultimately decide your fate. And that's where I'm very fortunate, because I've been able to bring in excellent, amazing young women and families who've been nothing but exceptionally supportive from the beginning. Are there any other, these were all amazing questions, and I was so scared coming in that we weren't going to have questions. So thank you everybody for these amazing questions. Is there anything else I can answer or help with along the way? Oh, here we go. What advice would you give Emma, who has to follow up the illustrious Sharif and Jackie next month? Just be you. Go out there, kick butt. You're gonna be fine. So that's the advice. And I'm definitely not illustrious. So thank you for the nice words, but that's definitely not the case. Yeah. Other than that, go ahead, Emma, kick butt. Any other questions from anybody? Anything we can help with? Okay, I'm going to take it by no more questions in the group chat that we're able to answer everybody's questions when it pertains to women's soccer. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoyed it as well. And if anybody needs to reach out to me, please email me, direct any questions that you might have. So thank you again and have a wonderful day.